What's up YouTube? Capital G here, checking out a brand new spelling trap suppression quick play spell called Blizzard that just got revealed coming out of Rise of the Duelist. When I first looked at the artwork for this card, even from a distance, I immediately thought of Mystical Space Typhoon, and that made me think this is 100% going to be some type of spelling trap destruction card, or it's going to be like spelling trap suppression, because Konami has a history of doing that. If they make cards look similar, they usually have like similar effects. And then when I look closer at the card, I was like, kind of looks like MST crossed over with something like Cold Wave, and that's kind of what this card is. Anyways, this is Blizzard. It's a quick play spell that's a hard once per turn. It says you can target one face-up spell your opponent controls for the rest of the turn, negate its effects that activate on the field. Also, negate the effects that activate on the field from any spell with the same original name. Also, if the targeted card would be sent to your opponent's graveyard this turn, return it to your opponent's hand instead. So this is a very interesting card, and when I first thought about it, I was like, okay, so it's obviously like spell suppression or spell negation, I guess you can call it, but I was really taken aback by the fact that the spell that I negated went back to my opponent's hand. Let me give you guys a quick example, right? So you activate Pot of Extravagance, I activate Blizzard targeting your Extravagance, you don't get to draw two cards because it's negated, but the Extravagance goes back to your hand, and that kind of like immediately made me think, ah man, this card is trash. But then I started thinking about it more and more, and I started thinking about how versatile this card is. Number one, it can be used against any type of spell that your opponent tries to use it to, whether it be a quick play spell or a normal spell, even certain field spells that activate the second they hit the field. You guys know the searching field spells, I call them rotofield spells, things like Magical Meltdown or Trickstar Light Stage. You know, stopping those searches can be very important. Another thing that I noticed about Blizzard is the fact that it basically turns all of your opponent's spell cards into hard once per turns, which is excellent. Let's just say, for instance, your opponent had something like Allure Darkness, which we all know can be absolutely deadly if you have it in multiples. If your opponent activates that Allure and you negate it, it really doesn't matter if it goes back to their hand or not, because sure, they can activate that same copy, they can activate two more copies in their hand, none of them are actually going to get their effects when they hit the field. They're just going to be negated and they're going to go to the graveyard, so your opponent is probably not going to try to activate anymore. Thus, the Allure of Darkness is basically a hard once per turn at that point. And I think that that is super awesome. Honestly, this is like one of the few times where I'm looking at a card and I'm like, yeah, it's a neg1, but I don't really think that I care that much because of how versatile this card is. It can stop the powerful draw cards like Allure, Pot of Extravagance, Pot of Desires. It stops some of those generic cards that we just see in a bunch of decks, things like Terraforming or the Rota Field spells, the cards that search a monster immediately. This can stop the blowout cards like Dark Ruler No More and Lightning Storm, cards that we don't have a lot of good answers for outside of maybe like Solemn Judgment or Imperial Order, but this does it for free. And I think that level of versatility combined with the low downside of this card is crazy good, especially if you want to play this and break my board decks. Adamantia would be like a prime example. I've seen Adamantia easily be able to have like 4 negates turn 1, but a well-timed Dark Ruler No More, you can definitely wreck their entire day. This is now your answer for a situation like that. And honestly, would it even matter that I put Dark Ruler No More back in your hand? I'm just gonna OTK you anyways. So the advantage that I end up losing, the neg1 that I lose on this card, doesn't really matter if you have enough damage to kill your opponent really quickly. And that's why I think that you can take advantage of this card. Now, I don't know if I would recommend this card in the main deck because it probably is going to be significantly better if you know you're going first. But I think that this card coming out of the side deck seems excellent because, again, so many powerful spell cards right now in Yu-Gi-Oh! Are hard once per turns. If I can negate the best spell that you throw at me, chances are I can just win in the following turn, and that neg1 won't really matter all that much. So yeah, I actually think that this card is versatile enough to pay for the neg1 that you're going to take, and I actually like this card a lot. Anyways, whatever you guys think on Blizzard, leave it in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already and turn on that notification bell for daily videos.